And then just do whatever you normally would on your walk. We're gonna keep going straight here, and once we get up to not this intersection, but the next one, there's a little park we're gonna cross into. Now all this right now, is this pretty normal? Like how he's walking, would you say?
No, I think it's just more curious.
Yeah.
Because it's a new place.
Sure. Okay, so that whole walk up into here, what was your expectation of him?
I don't know. I don't think I really had one.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I don't know.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of times when we're dealing with walking being like just a little sloppy, right? A little loosey-goosey, right? Which is what I would call that. That was not terrible, right? It's not like he was yanking your arm out of the socket or anything like that, but it was just kind of like, it looked like half of the time you were kind of trying to get him to stay with you. Then other times, while you were trying to get him to stay with you, he would like want to go sniff something and you would stop for a second, but then try to get him to stay with you again. Then other times you were letting him kind of do whatever he wanted to do, you know what I mean? It was just, there was no clarity to what the expectation was, right? And like I said, I am by no means anti-dog sniff on the walk or anything like that. There's a time and a place for all of those types of things, and I think that's a very important part of the walk, but we have to have clarity as far as where and when we're expecting these things out of them, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on two things. One, we're gonna work on making sure that he understands how to really stay engaged with you without the need of constantly pulling, right? And then the other thing that we're gonna do is we're going to start having really clear structure to when we want him to do that versus when we're telling him you could go off and do what you want to do, right? So just like we talked about using our markers and being clear in the expectation with our commands and stuff, the walk is the exact same thing. So we're going to use the come command for the walking. And if you said you don't really care too much about what your command is here versus come, we're just going to use that so I don't get super confused. And come, the expectation of it is come to me and stay with me. It's an implied stay just like all our other commands. So if you've seen some of our videos, our come command is our walking command as well, right? So what I'm going to do is when I want him to stay with me, I'm going to engage that command, and obviously I'll use the leash to enforce that. And when I want him to go off, I'll be releasing him from the command with our break, right? You see, oh yeah, he sees a squirrel up there, look at that.
And we have a line out front, and he broke it to chase after a
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and walk over by those. And what we're gonna do is this is gonna be the first place I give a correction for breaking command. So I'll tell him, come. So I want him to stay with me now. And obviously he's locked onto that squirrel. No, come. So I'll deliver that leash correction for the lack of focus towards me, right? And then we'll try that again. I'm gonna walk towards the squirrel again here. And I'm not super concerned about which side he's on right now. I just want him staying with me. No. Come. So the no is coming before the correction, right? And then we'll try again. And notice I'm saying super loose on the leash. I want him doing the work of staying next to me, right? If you're needing to constantly hold tension on that leash, something you're doing is not communicating the message clearly enough, you know? So it's right here, so we'll see what we get. No. Come. Same deal over here. Very good. Good. Pretty good. Now in a little bit here, we'll start adding rewards in also for that, because anytime I get really firm on the dog over something, I try to equally combat that then with reinforcing the correct decision, right?
Yeah.
But that was good. Obviously, held himself together pretty well for that. Cool, so we're gonna get back into the walking here next. So walking, same concept. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pick a kind of a long straight area like this, and we're gonna work similarly to what I was just doing, 180 drills, we call them, right? So basically we're looking for places where we lose the dog's attention to be able to give that 180, deliver a correction to get them refocused back onto us. So I'll have you hang out here for a minute, and I'm gonna walk up and down this way a couple times. I'm gonna tell, he's technically in the come command still, but I'll just reiterate it one more time here. Come. I'm gonna start walking. I'm gonna stay loose on the leash. And if at any point he starts drifting way ahead, I'll mark with no, do a 180 and deliver my correction. No, come. No, come. No, yeah, you can hang out there.
Yeah, it's like whenever he stops focusing on you, you direct him with caution.
Whenever I feel like I lost him,
Yeah.
so right now he's towing the line.
Yeah, he's like wants
No.
to, but
And right there, you saw he made the mistake, right? And obviously coming back towards you is gonna be harder, right? Which is why he's doing very well going this way now. And you'll see when I make the turn, turns right away with me. That's what we need to start seeing with all of the turns.
yeah.
Very good. Good job, buddy. And you see how much more attention I'm starting to get right now as well? Really good.
No treats, right? At first, no treats.
Yeah, I mean, technically right now, if I had, why don't you give me a couple treats? I'll show you where I would start to incorporate them. So basically what I'm gonna do is on those turns, if he does it well, I'll mark with good and give a reward. Or let's say hypothetically, like a squirrel popped up right there and he kept his attention on me, I could reward for that as well. Good. The same deal on the turn. Good. Give mark with good, give a reward. If he's not gonna take it, no big deal. And I'll do one more up and down, then you can do this. Good. Good. Break.
He's like, I don't want food anymore.
Now notice I clearly broke him out of position,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, and obviously a combination of being outside as well as getting some corrections. You might find out here he's not as interested in them, no big deal. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about the treats to start here. I want you kind of focusing on what you're doing. So a few things. With your leash, actually let me see the leash one more time. Try to do your best, come here bud, to hold it. The way I like to is almost like kind of crossbody like this. I think this does a couple things. One, it stops him from kind of zigzagging around behind you too much. Not that that's the criteria right now, but it helps with that. And two, it gives you enough leash where if he gets he could actually get ahead so you can give the correction.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of your turns, if you're holding it this way in your right hand, are gonna be right hand turns, right? So you're gonna turn right. If he turns with you, heck yeah. If you notice he's still drifting when you go to do that turn, no. And then be pretty firm with your pucks, right?
I've never been that firm. So
The idea with any type of correction, whether it's you'll see the e-collar, whether it's the pinch collar, is that we want to give the correction so we don't have to give it the next time, right? As opposed to constantly nagging them.
Yeah, then they never get it.
Exactly.
Come.
Very good.
So at the point he veers off, I say no come.
Yeah, no leash pop, come.
Come.
Beautiful. He's making the turns fine with you right now, so obviously no need for any corrections. Now, as you're doing this, you could keep going further, because generally once you start getting going, that's when they start getting distracted, right? Looks great. Now I want you to walk almost all the way up to me, then make your turn and see if he re-engages back onto you.
Okay.
Nice. Mark with good?
Yeah.
Perfect. And then you can go ahead and do that again. Nice. Go ahead and reward again for that. And do that maybe 2 more times. Nice. Excellent. Perfect. All right, how's that feel? Pretty good?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna keep cruising now, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to turn this into an actual walk, but as you're walking, if you lose him, mark with no and do your 180 turn with the pop. And then you can go right on this path. Why don't you give even just a little more slack on that leash? There you go, perfect. The more slack you hold in it, the more it will highlight the mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of forces you to almost trust him a little bit more. This looks awesome though. And this is how your walk should be, where there's hardly any need to give a lot of corrections, right? He's just staying tuned in with you. And then at this point, you know, if we hypothetically wanted to let him go to the bathroom in this area, we would just break him out of position, give him a chance to do it, and then jump right back into that come command from there. So obviously they're walking a dog up here. So as you're walking, just keep that in mind that that's going to be a distraction for him, and be ready to give your correction if you need to. So why don't you go ahead and just come to a stop. Beautiful. And then just hang out there for a minute. And if he leaves that position of being next to you to go try to investigate this dog, tell him no and give your correction for it.
Okay.
Now he doesn't need to sit, he just sat on his own, obviously. But. Just go ahead and tell him good.
Good.
And give him a reward, see if he'll take it. Nice. Obviously distraction, he did very well with it, so we want to make sure we're paying that out. All right. And we're gonna go ahead and keep cruising. So anytime I come to a stop for an extended period, I'll always reiterate that command before I start moving again. Even though technically he's still in command.
Yeah.
If I stop, sometimes they think they're in a sit stay then or a down stay or something. So you could tell him, come, we'll start walking, and then we're gonna make a left.
Come.
Okay, so what we're gonna do first here is we're just kind of testing him in a new location with new distractions with our walking. So we're gonna work the walking in the same exact way as we were doing at the facility. The difference is I'm not gonna turn if I need to give my corrections, right? I'm just gonna mark with no, and I'm just gonna give the correction. So I'll start with him. I'll walk him just a little ways down this path as we pass some people and stuff, and we'll see what we get. As I'm walking, try to stay maybe like 10 to 15 feet behind me so he doesn't get confused who he's walking with.
Okay.
So right now, obviously, this is a new place. Is this like better, about the same as what he normally would be somewhere like this?
Oh, no, better.
This is better? Okay.
Normally he's always like, you know, I don't like communicate well with him, so he's
Sure.
like, oh, is it time to sniff now?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, not as much clarity to it. Just the mental shift of, you know, structuring it out in your head is a game changer, I think. Yeah. Same deal, walk right on by him. And then as I'm passing distractions, I try to keep my eyes on him. Just so you can catch the second he tries to veer off. Beautiful. And looking is fine, obviously. He's allowed to turn to look, you just can't engage.